One man stands while everyone else kneels. On his head sits a thin circle of metal. His word can feed a city or end a life. No one elected him. No one can refuse him. We call him the king. For most of our history, he did not exist. Then someone stood up and never sat back down. This is the story of the first king. Start with a strange fact about power. Humans lived for hundreds of thousands of years. For almost all of it, no one ruled. There were no kings, no thrones, no crowns. Our ancestors lived in small, roaming bands, and those bands were fiercely, stubbornly equal. No one owned much more than anyone else. So how did one person rise above the rest? In a hunting band, sharing was survival. The hunter who bragged was mocked, not praised. If a man grabbed too much power, the group pushed back. They could leave him. They could shame him. So leaders were temporary and lightly held. A good tracker led the hunt, then stepped down. We call such a figure a big man. He could persuade, but he could not command. His power died the moment people walked away. For a king to exist, that had to change. The change began with a single idea: farming. Around 12,000 years ago, people settled. They planted seeds and waited for the harvest. For the first time, food could be stored. Grain in a pit is wealth that keeps. And wealth that keeps can be owned. Some families gathered more than others. Some controlled the best land and seed. Slowly, a flat world grew its first hills. Then the villages swelled into something new. In southern Iraq rose a city called Uruk. At its peak, it held 40,000 people. Most of them were strangers to each other. A band of 30 can rule itself by talk. A city of thousands cannot. It needs order. Who stores the grain? Who settles the fight? Who leads the wall when enemies come? The first answer was not a soldier. It was a temple. The biggest building in Uruk served the gods. Priests ran the storehouse and the calendar. They said when to plant and when to feast. They spoke for the gods who owned the land. One figure stood at the top of it all. We call him the priest king of Uruk. He fed the city and faced its gods. Control the food and the heavens, and you rule. To rule, power had to be seen. In a cave near the Dead Sea, a treasure waited. Hidden in the rock lay hundreds of copper objects. Among them, 5 strange copper crowns. They are about 6,000 years old, the oldest crowns ever found on Earth. Beside them lay scepters and heavy mace heads. These were not tools, they were signals. They said, "This person is not like you." Look closely at one of those objects, the mace. A mace is a stone head on a wooden stick. At first, it was a simple weapon to kill. Then it became something a king held. A polished mace meant power over life. The weapon turned into a symbol of the throne. The kings needed a story to explain themselves. The Sumerians wrote one on clay. We call it the Sumerian King List. It opens with a single stunning line. Kingship came down from the sky. Power was a gift, handed from the gods. The list gives kings reigns of thousands of years. Those numbers are myth, not memory. But the message was clear: obey. This is divine. So who is the first king we can prove? Not a god, not a name from a legend. His name was Enmebaragesi, King of Kish. He ruled around 4,500 years ago. The King List buried him in myth. Then archaeologists found a broken stone vase. Scratched on it, his name and his title. A real hand, a real king, stepping out of legend. Far to the west, another king rose. In Egypt, the land lay split in two, a north and a south, each with its crown. Then one ruler claimed them both. On a carved stone slab we see him. His name is Narmer, and he towers over all. He wears the white crown, then the red. One hand grips an enemy by the hair, the other swings a mace to strike. The first portrait of a king as conqueror. So what did these first kings actually do? They led the army when the city went to war. They judged the quarrels no elder could settle. They built the walls and dug the canals. They stood between the people and the gods. A king was soldier, judge, builder, and priest. In time, some claimed to be gods themselves. One man became the center of the whole world. Here is the question that still stings. Why did free people ever allow this? Part of it was fear of the chaos outside. A strong king meant walls, grain, and order. Part of it was the promise of the gods. But the crown always had a second edge. The king who feeds you also owns you. The first kings brought the first taxes. They raised the first armies of common men, and they were the first to send them to die. Once the throne existed, it never vanished. Kingship spread to every settled land. Pharaohs, emperors, sultans, and czars. Most of human history bowed to a crown. We broke many of those crowns later. Yet the shape of the first king remains. We still raise leaders above the crowd. We still hand one person the final word. It all began when one would not sit down, and we have been deciding ever since.